Man, what is going on, guys? What is up? Welcome to another episode of Roofing Underground. Right here, it's me. I'm your boy Dave, your favorite roofer's favorite roofer, the Roof Poppy and MF CEO here at A5 Roofing and Roofing Underground. Tonight, I have a very good friend. A very good friend is going to be on the show tonight. It's difficult sometimes as a host because you want to introduce people as people that you know, or people that you're networked with, or people that you care about in the industry. And when I use the phrase something like, I want to introduce you to a friend, this is somebody that I have a lot of esteem and a lot of respect for, not just because of what they're doing now, but where they were when they started their journey. Just the detail and the amount of charisma and grace and drive that our guest tonight has is part of the reason why I'm so blessed to consider her a friend. My guest tonight on the show is none other than Heather Hitchcock. Heather, how are you?
My dude, listen, I was getting really fired up in that intro. You come a
I
long
love
way,
that.
brother.
I love that, man. Thank you
I'm
very much.
good. I'm good. I'm glad to be here with you tonight, my friend.
That's awesome. So tell me, man, we got a lot of stuff going on, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of there's a lot of things going on in the world of roofing, not just in the world of roofing, but in our local politics and things in our school boards. Just it seems like life has a ton of shit going on. Tell us about what life has going on for you in roofing lately.
Wow. Man, I just feel like I don't know if you've ever been in a place in your life where you just feel like you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Like exactly where you're supposed to be. Like I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Roofing, my company, I have the most incredible team, the
Mm.
most incredible team. Like I'm not just saying that to like I'm telling you, man, I just have these people that are all individually incredible and collectively we are creating something just like it's unreal, man. I just have the best. Business is booming. I mean, we're growing at just a ridiculous rate. Systems and processes are actually a thing. Like we're legit. And man, I'm fired up. I feel like I'm just getting started and things are so good. I'm excited.
That's awesome. Now, I know the weather's been a little cooperative with you guys over in Houston in the last like 90 days, 6 months this time. Tell us about some of the crazier things. I know that a lot of people are like, okay, roofing, how if you're not in roofing, right? A lot of people wonder how interesting can roofing really be? Well, to give you an example, anytime there's a hurricane, earthquake, tornado, things like that, somebody's probably going to have to rebuild the roof or do some repairs to the roof. So a lot of times,
Mhm.
especially if you're living in Houston, where Heather is, you have the opportunity to respond to some pretty crazy storms down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when I started my company, like I didn't even know like how storms worked. So I was just like focusing on the retail game. I didn't really understand and we didn't have anything to that had happened, but we were working old storms, old hail claims that we were like stretching, for people who were legitimately trying to take advantage of the insurance process. But man, I told my team in December, like, look, we have so much seed scattered. When something actually hits, like I just felt it in my spirit. When
Yeah.
something hits, like it's on. And wouldn't you know? And I obviously like hear my heart when I say it. Nobody wants devastation. Nobody wants, people to lose things. But I do own a roofing company. And so when a tornado,
Yeah.
133-mile-an-hour tornado plowed through my community in January, that was the start of, an active storm season. So
Huh.
37 days straight working because that was emergency response, right?
Yeah.
37 days. And I'm like, next week, I'm gonna catch a breath next week. And then my community has never been hit with inch and a quarter hail. Pummeled on my house, pummeled. So people that didn't have enough, wind damage, man, they got destroyed with hail. And so, for the roofing life, we're kind of sitting pretty. We're sitting pretty.
Yeah, it's always difficult to explain to people again. If there's somebody that's watching in roofing right now, that's not in roofing, rather, what happens is you have an opportunity as a business owner, especially in construction, when shit gets damaged and somebody's willing to pay for it, which is like your insurance carrier. There are businesses in place that are tailored to fit those needs, right? And that's exactly what storm restoration contractors do. we understand how estimates are written. We understand how to correctly assess construction methodology and figure out if the most appropriate scope of work has been issued for a specific repair. And then we get in all to the little nuances of what it takes to get all these things done. But there is a business that provides a service for a customer who has a very real need, especially after a hurricane or tornado like we had in Deer Park. And the wonderful part about that disaster is that we have businesses like Heather's that have an opportunity to employ and feed and provide food, clothing and shelter and financial income to families that work for her company that are out assisting other families in the community. And I think, I mean, there's no, I don't know how else to look at it, and
Yeah,
a situation like that, like you're out there doing God's work. And I mean, it's, there's people that need something from you in order to keep their damn, well, and sometimes it's all they have is the roof over their head after
that's
everything's
right.
done.
That's
Yeah.
right. Well, and then you get into, the reality where more than I do because you've been in this industry longer, how rampant fraud is and people
Oh,
who have zero integrity. And so if it's gonna happen, I like that I get to respond in my community and take care of my community in an honest and right way. Like I have single moms that have never filed an insurance claim in their life who actually lost half their home.
wow.
So I got to step in and do some cool stuff for those people. But yeah, it's been a wild ride this season.
That's awesome. So what do you feel like? Let me ask you this: in your experience in roofing, what is it? Is it the reward for you? Do you find
Mm.
pleasure in the service? What is it for you?
Man, like, okay, obviously, like, we're in business to make money, and this is how I provide for my family, right? So, like,
Mhm.
obviously, this is a business, but
100%.
I'm I'm so serious when I tell you, and you mentioned it in the beginning, like, it's kind of weird that you can get excited about roofing.
Yeah.
Dude, I freaking love what I get to do. It is so fulfilling to actually help people. We educate people. When I got into this industry, I knew nothing about my roof. I trusted Joe Blow
Mhm.
with the best sales pitch. So we like to go in and teach people, add value, so they know, like they know our homes typically are they're our number one. Most of us investment, our largest investment in our
Right.
roof is that protective covering, and we don't know nothing about it. So
Yeah.
I like to come in, I like to teach people, but man, for me, it's the people. I'm a people person. You know how I like to live my life. I like to lay hands on people. I get to pray for people. I get to encourage people. It's so much bigger than roofing.
Yeah.
But it's a fulfill. Like I love my job. I love my job. Love it.
Do you enjoy the educating part? Like when you have an opportunity, this is what I find is interesting to me. I actually had one of my PMs tell me this the other day. He said there's like two types of Daves, right? There's boss Dave, there's like the business owner Dave, and then there's coach Dave. And it's like
Mm,
even customers, he said, I see different types of you coming out. I see like construction professional, and then I see like coach and educator, and it's almost like they're different peoples because I never see them at the
100%.
same time. And I'm like, all right, cool, you know, and so I find myself enjoying my interactions with my homeowners when I have an opportunity to educate them, when they're like, oh
Mm,
wow, I didn't know that's how that worked. And you're like, yeah, there's a process to this,
yes.
and you can explain things like ventilation, or you can explain how their depreciation actually works, right? And most homeowners are really surprised to find out that it's not an extra amount in case they go over. Like
Right.
that's not how
Right.
that works.
Right.
Uh, then we have to educate people on things, and tell them what their rights are under the law, not their policy, but under the law. So and it's weird that we have to walk this line as a contractor too. You know what I mean? It's so weird that
Dude.
we are prohibited by law from explaining people's rights as property owners. And now I know that there's a little nuance there, because we're not explaining their rights as property owners. They don't want us interpreting their insurance policy, because it could be a part to litigation, right? There's like a law
Correct.
degree required to do that shit. um But how have you found navigating that stuff to be? Because I'm sure Houston. Listen, I've built two roofs in Houston in my entire life. They were both for people that I knew. Um, two roofs in Houston. I've done a bunch of commercial build out work in Houston, so I'm familiar with dealing with the city of Houston and the shit show that is, because
Yes, it's a whole show.
it's a whole nightmare of a process in itself. But now you add on top of that having to navigate legal boundaries, like what you can and can't say to a homeowner, and you've got to know how to build shit and do all these things, right?
Yeah.
How have you found the learning curve being for just kind of all of it? I mean, there's a lot to it, wouldn't you say?
Yes, it's very overwhelming. It's very overwhelming, and they don't exactly make it easy for us to follow the law. Like, I have an example. Follow the law. I'm talking about discussing coverage. Okay,
Yeah.
discussing a policy. Everything else is easy. But in that regard, like, I mean, I had a homeowner that I was picking up a check last week, and I bring my contract back. I tell him this is the deductible. We do not compromise in that area. We follow the rules. We have that conversation from the jump. I don't want to have any issues, so don't waste my time. I won't waste yours. I'm sure you can find a ton of contractors. In fact, I can give you their phone number that will eat your deductible. I mean, I'm just being honest. Like, let's not get to the point where, like, then I get mad. So let's just
100%.
get it out of the way. And
Yeah.
if you're going to go your own way, it's okay. I'm not that contractor. It happens all the time. But we typically will win them over after we teach them why it's important to follow a contractor that follows the law. But for example, I had a guy last week. I picked up a check. Super nice guy, great. He was like, "Well, I know you told me about the deductible, but I called my insurance company and my agent, and they both told me that this insurance scope, they deducted it already, my deductible from the scope." And I'm like, can they just make it easy? Like, the insurance companies, if they could just write, like, we did not actually deduct your deductible. This is because it's your portion. It's just little things like that I feel like the powers that be in insurance could really help us. But
They are not trying
purpose,
to tell
right?
people how to do that
It's on
shit.
purpose,
They're
right?
not trying to tell policyholders, hey, here's how you really get all the money we've been nickeling and diming you to death for the last 12 years.
So I'm like, let's call your agent's office right now. Let me help you ask the right question, because I promise I'm telling you the truth. And I don't know why they would have told. And we get on the phone and I say, "Hello, this is so and so. Could you please tell your client, our mutual client, about this?" And then I let the agent, and then I'm like, "Thank you." So navigating it, I'm just doing my best. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't have it all right as far as the language, but we're here, we're showing up, we're trying to do the right thing. But it's tough. It's tough when most people don't try to do it the right way. So you just have to do you, and have faith that the right people that are supposed to be your clients will, and the people that aren't won't.
How have you felt about, so like starting your business? I know for me it was really difficult in DFW when we started the company in Fort Worth. I mean, fuck me. I could not figure out, number one, I didn't have the manpower to compete against a bunch of these other companies, right?
Yeah.
I didn't have the amount of staff that they did. It was just me and Jackie, and oh God, it was very scary, especially knowing that there were so many shitty roofing companies in Dallas Fort Worth that were willing to, we're talking about eating deductibles, right? And
Ugh,
really what it comes down to is a contractor.
thirsty,
If
thirsty.
for homeowners that don't know, eating a deductible is your portion of the insurance bill, right? For replacing your roof, just like your healthcare deductible. You pay your deductible, the insurance pays the rest of the bill. If your deductible is 10% of your roof's cost, the insurance company pays the other 90%. But in a lot of cases, you have to show them that you paid your deductible for them to pay you. See, this is the nuance. If they can force homeowners into not being able to afford to pay their deductibles, they don't owe you a whole bunch of that money. And that's inside of a homeowner's policy in most cases. And it's called recoverable depreciation. It's basically how your recoverable depreciation works. That depreciation is a portion of that check that's withheld until everything's finished. It's not in case shit happens money. It is, we owe
Right.
this shit to you and we hope you forget about it and don't come ask for it.
Exactly.
That's what depreciation is. So now that we've explained this whole process and how it's really not geared to help homeowners,
No.
as a contractor, if I take a $20,000 roof and I eat your $4,000 deductible for your $20,000 roof, I've now agreed to do a $20,000 roof for $16,000.
Right.
If we do simple math on that, Heather and I, we look at a $4,000 on a $20,000 roof. That's probably all of our profit. Okay.
And all your metal flashing.
And all your metal flashings and an extra layer of underlayment. And I'm giving you my shitty crew. You're not getting my good crew because my good crew is over here on my paying customers. Right. So you get the C team, the guys that showed up when the sick call team called in sick. Right. So this is what you're getting when you get a deductible eating contractor. You get a company that's willing to do it for free, pretty much. Do it for free, just to do it for free. It doesn't serve a homeowner any bit of difference hiring somebody that's willing to do the shit for free.
It drives me crazy, and I always will spin it to the homeowner. And to me, contractors, and I think I get a lot of. I think I'm hated by many because I expose a lot for this. I mean, I just do, and that's okay. But I think contractors who eat deductibles are thirsty and desperate for sales. Like, if you don't have the ability to sell your value to follow the law, it's not just like
100%.
I'm making this up. It's a law for a reason. And anybody who's going to eat a deductible out of the kindness of their heart is lying to you. They're lying to you. What person is going to eat $4,000 of profit?
Nobody.
To be kind, to give you. Come on, dude. Like, people don't get it. So I'm always telling the homeowners, like, let me just spin this for the truth. And that's how I win them all the time. It is the most fulfilling thing to win over someone who was gonna get their deductible eaten and explain to them what happens when they do. Because they ain't gonna get the roofing system I'm putting on their roof.
Good luck getting a warranty call.
Good luck, bro.
Yeah.
I'm sure your ventilation is jacked up. They probably just repeated the existing system, which was wrong, that I can see from the street, shaking my head. You know, it's crazy to me.
Yeah, it's sometimes I think we have to understand, right, that where we are inside of our journey in roofing or in business ownership and stuff, our customers, they come to us with a unique human experience as well. And we also have to be, I think we have to be gracious, and we have to understand that as many times as we feel like we have to tell the same fucking story, right? We have to have the patience in order to teach one more homeowner the best way to do this stuff.
Come on.
Right?
I'll do it all day.
I'm saying, but now let me throw this at you. After you've done it and you've educated and you've poured into this, then they choose to go with somebody that's willing to eat their deductible. Oh, it doesn't hurt you? That doesn't bother you?
It did. It did. It did. But I don't know how you, so how, give me an example. Like,
yeah,
I know I've seen a couple of your posts and I feel you, but no, I am explicit from the jump. I want to make sure I've learned that lesson. I do not want to be in that position. So I am very, very clear and I make sure. And so, no, if that's what's happening, I've learned they're not my customer and I
100%.
Don't want them.
I feel bad a little bit because I know what's fixing to fucking happen to you, right? Like here's a prime example. There was a company in San Antonio, in New Braunfels. They were out in this area of New Braunfels. We had a customer that had 58 squares, architectural shingles, just normal architectural shingles on her roof, nothing crazy. 58 squares. She had a $7,000 deductible, and that was a pain point for her because it's $7,000 right up front. And I'm like, Mrs., I'm going to call her Mrs. Jones. Mrs. Jones, I didn't pick your policy coverage for you. You know what I mean? Like, you, for the last 11 years, you could have shopped this shit just a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, you could have done that, but I'm here to tell you right now, you're in a really bad spot. You know what I mean? If you can't finance this and you don't have the cash, you're looking at having somebody to do your roof that's going to take a $7,000 hit right off the bat. They're going to owe you money by the time that this is done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so she was like, hey, listen, we went through the whole insurance process with her. We got her roof like inspected, adjuster's appointment, da 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 da. And then now, mind you, by this time, we've had the conversation about the deductible 3 times. Each time, you understand that you're required to pay for it, right? There's state law that says I can't. Yes, I understand. Okay, cool. Boom, boom, boom. When it's all said and done, can't pay my deductible. And so I told her, I said, well, there's nothing I can do for you then. Like there's no way I can make this work. I would have to do this roof for a loss and commit insurance fraud. And I'm not willing to do either one of those two. Right? Like you're fucking crazy. I'm not doing this shit with you. So, so anyways, we drive by 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later,
I love
driving
it.
by, and they're doing the fucking roof. They're doing the roof, and they pulled off the shingles. They left the valley metal. They went over the valley metal with ice and water shield, and they put synthetic underlayment over the felt. And I sent a picture to the PM that was working with them the whole time, and I said, hey, do your homeowners a favor and go tell them that your insurance company paid for that shit to come off. And if you paid that to them, they need to build the roof the right way. And I drove by and there was a fucking Select Shingle Master sign in the front yard. And I said, well, you motherfuckers ain't Select nothing if this is the way y'all are building roofs out here in New Braunfels. A select bunch of retards, what y'all got over here. But it was really interesting to see. And I say all that to say this. I felt bad for him.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's like, it's not really when people are just in a shitty position and their insurance company is just piling it on thick.
Yeah.
And there's really, without a law degree, there's not a whole lot that as a contractor we can do other than educate and empower.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's where I think it gets. And there's another pain point that I have in roofing. So not being able to help people, not being able to help everybody is part of my, I would say something that bothers me about my role in roofing right now.
Well, but in that situation, I mean, you got a 60 square roof. I mean, why aren't we financing the deductible?
Financing wasn't an option.
I mean,
it was at dire times. Some people's finances,
you know
what I mean? It was, and for this person, this was just the season of life that they were in.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah, and it sucked. And
I've been there.
I'm not going to tell you what to do. We lost a customer recently, had 46 solar panels on his roof, and the insurance company paid $9,000 for detach and reset. Somehow his solar company got involved and was like, hey, we do the solar detach and reset for free. Keep your detach and reset insurance money. And the dude called us and was like, hey, I hope y'all understand. And I was like, I'm not gonna lie, bro. If that was my roof, I would do the same shit. I was like, they gave him $9,000 for detach and reset, and his solar company said, we do one detach and reset for a roof replacement for free, but they had to use their roofer. So that's why, that's why we lost the deal. And I'm like, man,
you can't. What are you gonna do?
I fucking understand that.
You can't get mad. You
give me 9 racks. Fuck around and let me do my own roof.
Yeah, you know I'm about to file a claim on mine. I'm hoping. Wish I had solar panels.
Oh man, go get them real quick.
I know. On there.
Just detach some from a job and store them on your roof. These damn insurance adjusters are dumb.
It's been there the whole time. I don't know.
Yeah, what are y'all talking about? Google Maps pictures from 2016.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
Man, so let me ask you a question. Aside from roofing, there's some pretty interesting stuff that you've most recently got involved.
Oh my gosh, yes. Wild.
And it all started with the school board, right? Wasn't there? There was something at the school.
There was a field trip for 4th and 5th graders at elementary school where a bus driver was a 21-year-old biological man who decides to dress as a woman at work and tell kids when they call him sir that his name is Miss Nikki and to call him ma'am. And that is what started. And I had no idea what was going to happen for such a time as this.
Okay.
But I would love to report that bus driver is no longer employed here. I haven't done I need to do a little bit of recap, but man, a lot changed from all of that. And I appreciated your support during all that, because man, I tell you what, there are people that are afraid, and the fear is 100% fake. And people need to stand up. Women need to stand up. Parents need to stand up. Business owners need to stand up. I will tell you this: the things that people are afraid to stand up for, like, for fear of backlash, dude, I experienced the opposite. I was picking my son up from camp, an hour and a half away. And I'm in the line for the restroom. And this lady's like, "Are you Heather Hitchcock?" And I'm like, "Yes, ma'am." And she's like, "I started following you from the bus driver." And I'm telling you, I have people call me because of that for my business. So yeah, a lot happened, made a little post, just was in my feelings and mad, had no idea. And yeah, it got shared a bunch, and it got crazy.
Yeah. So I remember, listen, if there's anybody that's watching the show right now and you feel like you may be a little triggered, this might not be the fucking show for you, cuz
Bye
um
bye.
yeah, I'm just gonna be honest with you. So here's the deal. Let me wrap this up and say this. If I personally feel personal feelings, if you want to dress up, if you are a biological man and you want to dress up like a woman and walk down the street, that's fine.
Yeah,
You're free to do that. If you're a
absolutely.
biological man and you want to dress up like a woman and you want to call yourself Nikki, that's fine. Do whatever
Yep.
you want to. If you're going to politely ask that I call you Nikki, I call you whatever fuck you want me to call you. Like, I don't really care about that. If you want me to pretend that you are a woman, I have a problem with this,
Mhm.
because I can see from the Adam's apple and the hair on your fucking knees that you're entirely a dude. You know what
Dude.
I mean? And like, this is my personal thing. I don't care who you want to sleep with. I don't care who you want to have sex with. What color they are, what gender they are. This shit does not matter to me, right? What matters to me is that you don't expect me to fucking go along with some shit that I know defies pure logic, right? Like, this is really when I get into the problem that I have with this, is that I should not be told what I am allowed to think. If I have to accept your way of thinking, then you should also have to accept the fact that I might fucking disagree with it. Right?
It's
Am I
it's
wrong here? Or is this,
no.
is this kind of like how most people, I think, are kind of feeling with some of this 99 genders things? Like, I don't understand
It's
that part.
dude, look, okay. I'm with you. Like, whatever you want, that's for you. And that's why I don't have a problem speaking my truth, because people who know me, they know I'm not a bigot. They know they know I'm not racist.
Yeah.
They know.
Yeah.
You're not gonna tell me I'm crazy because I'm not subscribing to your crazy. Like, we're all entitled. My problem is even beyond that, though. My problem is the kids, man. You ain't bringing that up in here. You are not going to tell my kids. You don't get to do that. You're not
Yeah.
going to confuse my kids. You're
Yeah.
not going to force me to have conversations that I don't need to be having at this
Yeah.
stage with my kid. And nobody needs to know what type of sex you like to have. I don't care how old you are. Why are we like this whole thing? Why are we? Do I go around talking about what I like? Nope.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Why
Well,
are we? What?
you
Sorry,
know
my
what?
dog.
I think a lot of this started with and I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like a lot of this shit we let a lot of things slide in 2020 with the COVID and the lockdowns, and I
Bro.
think that, listen, I'm going to put my,
Let's go.
I got to put on my proverbial tinfoil hat here for a second.
Let's go.
All right,
Oh
check this
yeah,
out.
I'm with you.
Okay. So they fucked small business up in the United
Oh
States
my gosh,
100%
dude.
on purpose, right? To see if they could get away with it. And then they tried to tell us all what we could do with our bodies and act like we still had bodily autonomy. And then they said that if you don't do the shit, you stay at home, you governmental assistance programs, or your ass don't get to work, right? Like, take your choice. And a lot of people let a lot of shit slide. And I don't think that the federal government, I'm just going to say that, I don't think the federal government had the fucking position to be doing a lot of stuff that they did, and local governments too. Let's not that this shit slide too, because I remember mayors in San Antonio and mayors in Houston doing some really ridiculous shit during all that time. My problem that I had with all of that was when we were forced to either disclose to a business whether or not we had our vaccine when we walked in. If I wanted to go to the gym and they would ask me, do you have your vaccine? I would ask you, do you like anal sex? And they would be like, what the fuck? And I'm like, yeah, right. It's none of my fucking business, is it? It's none of my motherfucking business what you do or what you put into your body. Just like whether or not I've been vaccinated, I'm gonna fucking lie to I'm gonna lie to your face. I'm gonna lie to your fucking face. You know what I mean? Or I'm gonna do a lot of the times what I did. I quit going to these fucking businesses.
Yeah.
I quit spending my money on these places. I have not spent since I walked into in 2021. I walked into in 20. What is this? This is 2021.
23. Oh.
Mm-hmm. In 21, I walked into an Old Navy store in Keller, Texas. And I was looking for some rompers for my daughters because years ago, I remember I bought a bunch of rompers from Old Navy. And I walked in and we were shopping around and I noticed that right between the girls' kids section over here and the
dude.
Here, there was like this section of clothes that didn't really fit girls or guys. It was like it could go either way. And it was kind of odd to me. And then, but I didn't think nothing of it. I grabbed my kid's shit and I'm going out the door and I look up and there's a sign and it says, it's got a picture of a boy and it says clothes for us. And then a picture of a girl and it says clothes for him. Then a girl, clothes for her. And then it says clothes for them. And I said, I'm fucking
I remember
out.
You didn't you post something?
Yeah, I'm fucking out.
I remember.
I'm out in the fucking kids section. I'm fucking out.
Dude.
Y'all can kiss my whole ass. I'm not spending any more money with you pricks. You know what I mean? And this is how I've understood how we vote with our tax dollars. Listen, I can't vote, right? So, but I can vote with my fucking dollars. You know what I mean? That's what I like is a real benefit to all this stuff. I think that there's a lot of companies, like you said, there are a lot of businesses that chose to stand for the right shit. Right?
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that run businesses that made a choice to do the right fucking thing, what they felt like was the right thing. And there are consequences, both good and bad for that. I'm very vocal about how I feel about a lot of things. And I'm very vocal about that. I have had people try to tarnish my reputation or my business reputation because they didn't like some shit that they heard me say. But I've also had customers tell me most recently, I had a homeowner whose house got rained on. We tore it off. 15% chance of rain. I had to repaint the whole ceiling upstairs. Whole damn thing.
I get it. I get it. Happens.
And on the way out, after I walked in that morning and I'm looking around and I'm taking photographs and I'm talking to the homeowner, I've never met her a day in my life. She'd been working with one of our PMs the entire time. But shit went downhill. And the next morning at 7 a.m., I am there to come introduce myself and to let her know that we're going to take care of things. But she was super calm. Calm about the whole thing. And so as I'm walking out, I asked her and I said, Miss Luna, I just got to ask you, you're pretty calm about all this, right? And she said, can I ask you a question? And I said, okay, yeah, sure. And she said, are you a patriot? And I said, you're not. She said, are you a patriot? And I looked at her and I said, I think the phrase is domestic terrorist. And she started laughing. And I said, I think, Miss Luna, I would consider myself a patriotic American. Yes, I'm very proud of where I come from and the work that we've done to create this country. And she said, there's a reason why you guys are doing my roof. And I said, why is that? And she said, before I hired you, I found you on Facebook and I got an opportunity to see exactly who you were. And I knew without a doubt that if something went wrong, you would fucking handle
the right thing. Yep. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it
all day long. And so I sometimes I wonder if my customers see my content, they're either going to love it or they're going to hate it. One of the two, right?
But you have to be you. Like I love it. That's why I appreciate you. I appreciate people who are authentic at all costs because I don't know. I just can't be anything else. And people that aren't just because they're trying to please people. I mean, for what, man? For what? For
Yeah.
what?
Tell me, what is something that you wish you could fix? Like if it was about business ownership or even just the roofing industry, is there something that you wish you had a little bit more influence on?
Um, Gosh, there's a little bit. The thing that gets me in this industry, and I actually now you're probably going to jump on this real fast too. Look, I'm just here trying to build a business, trying to create a legacy, trying to provide opportunity for other people to step in and duplicate what I'm doing. I am not out here trying to sell a class, act like I'm something I'm not. Like, I'm just me. But it's working. But what drives me absolutely bonkers is like the people that come into the industry and like self-appoint themselves as, leaders of this and leaders of that, and like think that they get to choose who is and who isn't, and classes, and like I got this, and so now I'm gonna sell a class, and I'm doing this, but it doesn't even generate business. It's just for show. Like, I don't like. Let me tell you about the claim we got approved today that was an organic lead off TikTok. Let's talk about that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that drives me bonkers. It's like people, or they've been in the industry, or they think they have the right to, what I'm trying to say?
I think I do. I think there's, listen, I said this. Who did I just do a podcast with the other day? God, I just did a great podcast with somebody, and
Tim
we
Brown?
were with Tim.
Oh,
Yeah.
Tim.
We
Yeah.
were talking with old Tim, and Tim and I were talking about, picking and choosing who do we take this criticism from. And I realized that there's a lot of people that sell a great idea,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's a lot of people that sell ideas, and then there are people that sell products and services. Um, and I think you have to be, especially in our industry, and I'm sure that real estate industry and the finance industry and all these other fucking industries have the same thing with social media. We have influencers, we have people jumping up that are coaching you in masterminds and how to grow and scale your business, that they're in year 2 and they got 7 fucking salespeople. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not qualified to teach anybody how to grow and scale my business yet. Give me another fucking year,
Yeah.
and let's
Same.
see what
Yeah.
happens, right? And I'm also not qualified to be going around the country. I don't think I'm independently qualified to go around the country and to tell everybody else that I've got the secrets to building a fucking roofing company down packed, because there are people that are killing me in business right now, like
Right.
absolutely murdering me in business. And those motherfuckers need to be on the stage. And luckily enough, there's a couple of those people. We have the opportunity, like Raymond Little and Kurt Lennington and some of these guys that are in business that are fucking there. You know what I
Love
mean?
both of
Like,
them.
they have a track record to fucking show you receipts. Like I told Tim Brown, sometimes you have to check these motherfuckers' resumes, you know?
Actually. Well, you do. You really. I mean, I don't know. The thing that gets me though is I'm fine with it. Like, do you? Just like if you want to call yourself whatever, a man, and dress like a woman, do you? But what kills me is these new people who don't know, and they're all caught up in it. And then I'm watching, and I'm just I'm not saying anything. That's your walk, But I'm watching people align and get pulled in. I'm like, look, you don't
To
got
the
to go
bullshit.
that route.
To the
Yeah, like,
bullshit.
because I mean, look, I started this company. I had no website for 2.5 years. I've never paid for a lead. Nothing I've done is like what they say you have to
You have to
do.
do. Yeah.
We're killing it. So
Yeah.
it's like there is no right way. There's a lot of wrong ways, but to come in and have this like arrogance about, your way, and that's wrong, and then to judge people who maybe just don't, it's not like I don't like you or whatever, but I just don't agree. And then to be a hater because people don't agree and champion you because you're just not about that life. It's very bizarre. This is a very bizarre industry. I love it.
There are a lot of politics there are, and there's a lot of politics in the roofing industry. There's a lot of popularity contests. I have seen that there are a lot of people that are super popular, yet if you look at any of their content that they've created in the last couple of years, they typically recycle the same shit, right? Like I can't tell you how many times I've seen certain people speak, and I've lit in different cities in different years, Heather, and I've literally looked at somebody and I said, this is what he's going to say next. And I'm like, motherfucker, how'd I know? You know what I mean? Because the shit was on his YouTube channel for 2 years and we just heard it again, like there's a lot of that stuff that happens. There's a lot of politics. And unfortunately, I think in today's social climate, it's very difficult. Like I told TJ when we had that roofer thing rise in Houston, I told TJ, you guys really kind of went out on a limb here by putting me up on this stage, bro, because I'm just letting you know right now, y'all can't hold me liable for the shit that I say. You're not going to tell me that I cost you business because y'all fucking asked me to come here.
Right.
And so we had that understanding up front. But I think that in this industry, especially when it comes to the what are these fucking things called, these conferences that we have every year, right? When we have a conference, some of them are like fucking circus shows, and some of them are actually educational and empowering. I have my favorites, I have my not so favorites. But even a lot of these conferences, if you look at the people that are there to provide you with educational experience to help you grow your business at the conference, it's the same people that are sponsoring the event and selling all the shit. And so, and there's very few. I'll say this: when I got to hear Craig Gorshall and John Maxwell at RoofCon, they didn't try to sell me their book. They didn't try to sell me a class. They didn't try to sell me anything. Ed Milet didn't try to sell me shit. Ed Milet talked to me about Ed Milet stuff and gave me a good story and things like that. But sometimes it's the presenters that we have with the technology or the CRM or the finance and the things like that. And we know when a finance company comes on to speak on a stage, what they're trying to convince us of is that they're the finance company for us and they've got it all figured out. And there's a secret to generating tens of thousands of more dollars buried inside of your financing model. And we're going to teach you how to do that financing model. You know how many times I've had to finance a deductible in the last year? Fucking zero.
Really?
Times. I've never had to somebody be like, well, let's look at fight. I had the one customer with a $7,000 deductible and couldn't finance it. Couldn't. That was the only time. And I'm like, well, I'm sure glad I paid for all this financing I don't use.
We finance a lot.
Really?
I finance a lot. But I will say, in the beginning, I don't know if you remember, the first time I met you and Jackie, I drove to, because I got in, I was like, I'm like, finance. Like, I had no idea. And I'm like, I need to figure this out. Like, I need to know. And so I paid to go to a class that was, and I went there and I was like, I went there to understand the retail model. I learned nothing about the retail model. I learned about every single vendor that had paid for time on the stage. And I'm serious. I stayed in a hotel. I mean, I dropped $1,000 easy. I went with my notepad, eager to learn about this model. And I learned nothing about how to introduce it language-wise. It was new. And that's why I drove, because I'm like, I got to figure this out. So yeah, I mean, but we finance a lot, but yeah, I just don't get on board with all of that.
There's a lot of that bullshit. I'm going to be honest with you. I've seen there's a lot of, there's a lot of, hey, if you buy this, we'll give you the secrets to it. Right. What we have to remember is that, and this is just a heads up to a lot of other roofers that are out there, maybe roofing companies, y'all are in, your first year of business, you don't really know this shit. The people that call you that say that they're Google experts and they can get you ranked on the first page of Google, they're full of shit, right? They are full of shit. The same way that the people that tell you that for $200 you can come take their class and they'll give you all the secrets to understanding a roofing and restoration business. Most of those guys are full of shit. It's not something that you can fucking I'll be honest with you. Like, I've been trying to figure out how to own a roofing business, and I belong to masterminds and I pay for people's fucking time. And I have a guy for financing and a guy that does this and people that do that. We hired day one of our first W-2 employee. This is a hourly paid production manager whose entire job, Miss Amaya, if you're watching, welcome to the motherfucking Rocket League. We have a dedicated person whose whole job now is to manage our production workflow. And this is all this person does for us because we got too much shit to build right now. And I need some fucking help, Heather. This is what I need.
Great. I'm
Okay?
with you, brother. It's a good problem.
So, it's a good problem to have. But I don't even remember what I was about to say with that. Anyways, Amaya, welcome to the team. So here we are in this cycle of life. And we're paying people to grow. We are investing our profits and our money back into the business right now. And it is still disheartening to understand that because I've done this, I've made poor hires with marketing teams and lost a shit ton of money. Those kinds of things have happened before. And it's disheartening to know that there are also young entrepreneurs and young business owners who unfortunately are probably going to subscribe to some of these programs or spend $1,000 in their first year of business that they don't really have to go drive to take a course to understand something that they end up getting sold a bunch of products, and a bunch of services. And yeah, like, sound familiar? It's just
all unnecessary.
Dude, it's fucking unfortunate. It's very fucking unfortunate. And so I think that's a large reason why, number one, things like this, like a podcast, are super beneficial to a lot of other business owners, a lot of people that don't have the ability to learn from their own mistakes financially. And so, I tell people, learn vicariously through me, dude. Go watch the podcast, listen to some of the content, scroll back through my Facebook page when I started talking about implementing my SOPs and what it meant to me to write them down for the first time. And things like that, like these little things that we learn about building and modifying a business. We have an opportunity to share with people real practical shit that we've actually fucking learned.
Right.
And we get to share it to people for free.
Right. Because we're actually building success in our business. Actually. So we can share what has worked and hasn't. No, it drives me bonkers. And look, I'm not saying there's no value in, SEO. I'm not saying there's no value in recruiters. I'm not saying there's no value in marketing. But what I'm saying is it's not necessary. People come in and they focus on that. They focus all their energy on their website, on SEO, pay-per-click, all this crap. Never done any of it. You can generate your own leads. You can generate your own recruiting. You don't need focus on selling a service, your product, treat people right, be yourself. Dude, it drives me absolutely bonkers. And then if you don't subscribe to it, the people that do, are the subscription, then they kind of lump you into, they hate on you because there's nothing wrong with not falling in line with what every other person is doing. It's not necessary.
That's a lot of that has to do with like herd mentality. Number one, especially in a divisive issue, if you pick a side, nobody wants to be on the wrong side. So what do? You try to discredit the other side. I don't care what it is. If it's, you got a bunch of people that typically like retail roofing where they're like, hey, my price is $585 a square and this is what I charge and this is what we're going to do. Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to finance all this and then send the bill to the insurance company as a cost incurred. And then they're going to have to pay it within 72 hours and all this.
Right.
I know for a fact State Farm will tell you to kiss their ass.
Me too.
Even if you get a settlement. Even if a judge says, hey, you know what? 2 appraisers, cool, settlements awarded, State Farm will still be like, fuck you, sue me, dog. It's absolutely some shit that would happen. But you pick the retail model or you pick the insurance restoration or you only do shingles or you only do Decra roofs or and then you talk shit about everybody else. And those people, these flat roofers hate steep slopes roofers and steep slope roofers don't think mod bit's real roofing. And some of this shit's dumb. You know what I mean?
It is.
Like some of it's dumb. I think the only guy in roofing that has a right to be upset is the poor motherfucker that's running the bundles up the ladder. You know what I mean?
That's a terrible job.
Dude, that motherfucker has a right to be upset about some shit.
It's a
You know
terrible
what I
job.
mean? But hey, listen, if you just climb that ladder a little bit faster and get us through this day, you'd be the head nailer next week. You know what I mean?
Ladder
Like,
Vader, baby.
that's the
Ladder
ladder.
Vader.
Yeah, you got to climb the ladder. Heather, I have had a fantastic time hanging out with you tonight
Same,
and
Dave.
getting to know you a little bit. Let me ask you a question. Where do you feel like let me back up and say this. For
Yeah.
such a time as this,
Mm-hmm.
has really kind of come to mean a lot to you
Yes,
lately.
it has.
Where
Mhm.
when did that pop into your head?
Um, when the bus driver situation happened, even though that wasn't the thing, but that was really what pushed me into just the realization that this is the time that I'm here to speak about the things that God has put in my heart,
Yeah.
that God has helped me overcome, and that like this is the time to be who He created me to be, and it's really important.
You when you feel like, because I mentioned that in the post about this video, and I think that's very important. It's just a topic that I kind of want to touch on for a minute. Um, when you find yourself coming into alignment with your calling,
Mm.
how do you know, Heather?
Oh man, I could start crying. How do you know?
Tell
Because
me what that feels like.
oh man, it feels good. It feels good. It feels like being able to be who you are. It, what it feels like is, I'm not a perfect person. I make mistakes. But my heart, well, you know a little bit about my story, and in a super short, without even going into it, basically like I was plucked out of the pits of hell and devastation and darkness, and given an opportunity to redo life in a successful business. And so I got to bring all my experience and poor choices and for this and for stewarding money and poor treatment of people and poor treatment of employees. And I got another opportunity now for such a time as this to do things the right way. Just when I say the right way, I mean, honoring people, serving people, doing what I say I'm going to do, being who I say I am. It's the most incredible feeling to be able to show up in your true authentic self and like have other people join.
Mm.
Oh, sorry, I just lost you. Something just came up on my hold up.
Oh, we got 1 inch hail just fell in San Antonio. That's what
Stop.
that was hail. That was hail recon notification that just
Okay, it just took my screen. I'm like, wow. Man, it's
popped up on mine too. We're gonna have to wrap this
okay.
shit up,
I'm like,
Heather.
there we go.
No, no, I'm okay.
No, but I mean that's it, like, man, I don't even know how to articulate it, Dave. Like, dude, I get to just like show up, be me, and do like it's like the opportunity is just like psh, psh. I give an analogy of staying in my, like, I'm in my lane. I'm in my lane of the river of grace. And when you're in the lane, everything that's supposed to come into your life does. And so all you have to do is show up, be who you are, handle your business the right way, and everything just works. And I'm going to tell you, my mind is so blown with the goodness of God right now and what He's doing in my life, and not just mine, but this is duplicating for my team. You talked about it in the beginning, like people that needed income bad on my team, like it's changing their life. And so, I get fired up and super passionate talking about that.
That's I recently had a conversation today with one of my guys. We were in the truck running around, actually checking material drops. So we had a
Okay.
bunch of materials that dropped today over in Seguin, and we got a bunch of builds coming up this week. And so instead of my PMs going out and making sure that the materials showed up and that the right shit showed up, I'm like, fuck it, I got today. I'm gonna go run out there. I'm gonna go stop by these 5, 6 houses. I'm gonna go check this shit in. So I go out there and I'm taking all the pictures and job nimbus for them and tagging
Yep.
them and letting them know, hey, all your stuff's here. Bill Layden's correct. You got all your right quantities and everything else. You're good to go. My guy and I were talking, and we got onto the subject of what kind of we're all doing this for, and how this is going to really make us business owners millionaires, right? That was the conversation was, in order for you to be a millionaire, what do we have to do in business? And I said, well, in order for me to be a millionaire, I've got to make like 10 of you a millionaire.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I have to create 10 millionaires before I'm ever, and we did the math. And I literally said, I've got to make enough money to pay either one of you guys $1 million in order for me to make $1 million, or I have to find a way to make 10 of you guys $1 million a piece. You know what I mean? Like if we do the math, I'm going to have to create one before I'm going to become one.
Yeah.
And so for me, I think the pleasure in what I'm getting to do here is that I have an opportunity to understand that my reward, it's going to come later, right? The shit that I'm going to get, the things that are for me that have, first of all, let me say this, the things that have always been for me.
Yeah.
Right. Because listen, I'm not a very vocal person about my faith, Heather, but I'll save you this. God saved me from a life sentence twice. Okay. And take it how you will. God has, I personally believe, has walked me through some shit. Right. And the entire time knowing that nothing that I was going to experience was going to be past what I'm capable of dealing with him, not by myself, but with a good belief system and a good relationship. And I think that my obligation is to understand that everything that I thought that I was never going to get or I didn't deserve, right? The things that weren't for me that I saw other people experiencing, they've been for me my whole life.
Come on.
The places that I want to go, the things that I want to do. When I look at, I saw this on Facebook and Kurt Lennington was in Vienna, Austria with his wife getting ready to go to
Amazing.
goddamn the symphony.
I love watching them. I love watching them.
Just all kinds of shit. And I looked at that and I said to myself, my fucking wife deserves to wear a $5,000 coat and to go see the fucking orchestra play in Vienna, Austria. I deserve to wake up in Malibu with my kids and go down to the beach, right? Like all these things that I want to experience that I see other people in life experiencing. And the thing that I realized many years ago is God told me, it's been your turn.
Come on.
It's been your turn. I've just wanted you to want it more than I wanted it for. You know what I mean? And I have the opportunity now to help people understand, hey, listen, coming from a double wide trailer, eating a can of peas and fucking carrots the day before I decided to start knocking on doors, I can tell you where this shit will take you if you apply the principles and you follow the blueprint and you do the fucking work. And I feel obligated to share that journey with a lot of people.
And you asked, I want to read something because you asked what is it about for me? And I honor you, Dave. I honor you and I'm proud of you. I'm so proud of you. I love watching your family. I love watching what you're doing. And I love seeing you start talking about what you're talking about for real. Like you are a real one. And if your family ever needed anything, you better believe you could call me in a heartbeat. I just need to throw that in there. But this is what it's about for me, because obviously, like I said, I'm here for business. But what I've experienced is showing up, doing the right thing, serving others, and helping communicate that message that you just talked about in the business sense. For me, man, I'm talking about the Lord and what the Lord has done. And I'm not here to shove it down people's throat. I'm here to share what changed, just like you talked about, the thinking of what we deserve, of who we are, of what our families deserve. And that for me comes by way of my faith. So the more I just started showing up, doing the right thing, helping people, the money didn't stop. The success didn't stop. The opportunity didn't stop. So what drives me now? How do I know I'm where I'm supposed to be? What gets me excited? Because I can't tell you how many text messages I've gotten from random raw men and women in this community, roofing, raw drugs, alcohol, sex. You know what I'm saying?
I know you.
No, it's late.
I know you got one for me one time.
I would love to. The thing is, and like I love to share this stuff, and not because I'm bragging on me, because I want people to hear and see. It fires me up. This was the other night, 9:49. a friend of mine, a couple, you know them, I'm not going to say anything, but local competitors that one of them did not believe in the Lord, and that's okay. They're my friends. I ain't here to shove it. I'm just here to share it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they ask questions and they don't agree with my belief system, and that's okay. And I just share my belief system. This has been a while. I get this text Saturday night. I know it's late. Had an experience today at my event in Dallas. I wanted to share with you. I felt the presence of God today. This is someone who didn't believe in the Lord. I felt the presence of God today, like a full body experience, overwhelming vibrations and the invisible light shining through type of thing. I accepted Jesus Christ into my heart today. Said the prayer of salvation out loud. I appreciate you and the guidance you've given me to help. Roofing, bro. What time is this? For such a time as this.
It's pretty awesome.
It's amazing because it's generations are changing. Income, it's so much. This industry is so wild.
I think you know, Heather, let me step back and let me say this. You know, you said earlier you were like, "Hey, Dave, I honor you." And we both know the answer to that, right? It ain't me. I am here because of a fuck ton of grace and mercy, a shit ton of mercy, and so it's because of that I feel obligated to share my experiences with other people so that they don't have to ask for mercy. You know, they don't have to experience being humbled. And I think for you too, I think what I really want to let you know is that I don't think this industry changes anybody. I think that this industry is a pathway for certain people to change other people's lives. And I think that you, as an individual, have a very real blessing and a very real obligation. I'm not going to call it an opportunity because it's probably something that you're going to have to do whether you like it or not. I think that you are going to experience quite an obligation with what you are called to do and share and to lead people to. I think this is it's a very different conversation than I usually have on my show. But I want you to know that there are thousands and thousands of people that see you, that love you and support you and care about you.
Thank you, Dave.
And that are here to champion you along in this shit, because it is let me tell you this, Heather, when you try to stand for the right shit, there are a lot of people that are going to have something negative to say about it. And it just is what it is, my friend. It is what it is. But for such a time as this is what you were built for. This is it.
Thank you.
Heather, thank you so
Dave.
much for being on the show tonight. Let me ask you a quick question.
Yep.
If people are trying to get in touch with you because they want to talk, they want to share their experience or ask for some guidance or anything of the two, how can we get in touch with you?
Yeah. So Instagram, Heather Hitchcock 4. It used to be Heather S. Hitchcock, but that reads Heather Shitcock. So I changed that. So it's Heather Hitchcock 4. I didn't know my whole life. And Facebook, Heather Hitchcock. You find me, Royal Roofing. Hit me up on the messenger. My email, all that's on my company website. You can always find me there, but I'm pretty easy to access, and I appreciate this conversation. I really do.
I enjoyed it so much, guys. Again, my guest tonight, Heather. Heather, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thanks.
I've got to take a minute and just kind of digest here for a second, because from conversations about roofing to personal development to podcasts and deductibles, and then finally all the way making it to answering your calling in your faith. A very interesting path that we've decided to take tonight. And I don't regret it for a single fucking minute, because I think that this is honestly a conversation that more people need to have with themselves. I think that the minute that somebody starts talking about their faith, most people get hooked on the idea of religion and not relationship. And we lose a very strong grasp of the point of the conversation and somebody sharing their faith with you.
And so while that's not typically a conversation that we get into, this is a conversation that I personally do not care if it hurts your feelings, because God did not call me to care about your feelings. So let me just say this, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us on the show tonight, and to such a wonderful, wonderful guest, Heather Hitchcock at Royal Roofing down in Houston. If you are looking for let me say this, because I don't do roofing in Houston, but if you are looking for a qualified contractor that is full of morals and ethics and integrity, that has a personal relationship with her Lord and Savior, you look no further than Royal Roofing over in Houston, and give my friend Heather Hitchcock a call. As always, I am your favorite roofer's favorite roofer, Dave Taggart, the Roof Poppy, MF CEO here at A5 Roofing and Roofing Underground. Really, really, really thank you for joining us tonight. And we look forward to having a couple of guests on here in the near future. We're going to be dropping a couple of pre-recorded episodes towards the end of next week, or towards the end of this week, that are actually going to be some really, really, really fire content. And I'm looking forward to sharing those with you. For us at A5 Roofing and Roofing Underground, thanks so much for joining the show tonight. I love you. I care about you. I believe in you. I want to help you. And I got to go.